Conversation. I'm joined by the Shadow Education Minister, Julian Leeser. Julian, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Trudy.
Your colleague, Josh Burns, is going to be appearing at the Royal Commission this morning. Can you give us a sense of how much anti-Semitic hate you yourself have faced in the wake of the Bondi attack?
Well, look, I think every Jewish Australian has faced an enormous amount of anti-Semitism since October 7. There was a problem in Australia before that time as well. And since Bondi Online, it's gone to a whole new level. I was shocked yesterday to hear Arsen Ostrovsky, a survivor of the Bondi terrorist attack, being told he was faking it, and the shocking level of attacks on the Lowy family and the hundreds of police reports that have been made. Let me tell you a little bit about my own story. My family have been here since the 1840s. My great-grandfather was at Gallipoli and at the charge of the Lighthouse in Beersheba. My grandfather was a prisoner of war in Changi and fought on the Burma Railway. And yet every time I post anything on my social media, I'm called a traitor and a Mossad agent. And there are graphic, violent and sexual comments that are made that I will not repeat on your program. That's what Jewish Australians are copying today. Now, I'm a Member of Parliament. You expect some level of abuse as a Member of Parliament, but no one should expect that level of abuse. And I don't want an Australia for my children or for anyone's children where people are judged on the basis of their race or religion. I want an Australia where people are judged on their contribution. I love this country. I love Australians. I know most Australians don't want this either.
Julian, how do we stop this from happening, the vile hatred that is spreading online? The Royal Commission yesterday heard social media is one of the most significant vectors for spreading this hate, and yet some of the big platforms like X and Telegram are refusing to comply. How can we stop this?
Well, I think the social media companies have to step up. It's long past good enough that they excuse this behaviour. We regularly report words and people to the social media companies, and yet they just do not keep up with it.
Do you hear anything back from them, or they don't even try?
They have blocked, I think, from my office's recommendation, something like 650 accounts. Right. But, you know, you only need to look at a post I made yesterday to see hundreds more are appearing all the time, hundreds more engaging in anti-Semitic behaviour. The social media companies have to do more here, otherwise they will face tough regulations.
I wanted to ask you about Stephen Lowy's contribution. He's called for a return to national service, amongst other things, for younger Australians. Is that a path we should go down?
The major failure of the last couple of years is that we've seen a failure in leadership right across the board, from the Prime Minister down, whether it's university vice-chancellors, whether it's the Human Rights Commission, whether it is some of our law enforcement officials. People have failed the Jewish community, and they've failed Australia in failing to exercise their leadership. That's the key thing that we need to look at in terms of addressing anti-Semitism going forward and building social cohesion more broadly.
Do you know if you'll have an opportunity to appear as a witness like Josh Burns is today?
I've been invited to appear as a witness, yes, and I've made a submission to the Commission, yes.
I wanted to shift our attention to the raw politics at the moment in Australia. One of your colleagues, Mel McIntosh, sat in that chair yesterday and said the Liberal Party needs a rebrand after more than 80 years, the party of Menzies. Do you want to see that?
Well, I think Australians want strong borders and Australians want to be able to make money. And if Australians want those things, the Liberal Party has their back. That's what we stand for. The Labor Party doesn't stand for those things. They've allowed the borders to get out of control with the mass migration program, with the ISIS brides, with the NZYQ cohort, with the Gaza refugees, just like we saw them last time. We also know they don't know how to manage the economy. We've seen this in declining business confidence. It's not cutting through, is it? The
primary vote yesterday is sitting at 17%. It's dire.
Well, when I go around my electorate, I've been talking to them about our tax-back policy, which is going over very well in the community because we are going to let people keep more of the money they earn. When you go into a new tax bracket because you've had a wage rise, you deserve to keep that money. You don't want to give that money to Jim Chalmers. It's a $200 billion hit on the economy, the current system. We want Australians to keep more of what they earn. That's what our policy is about.
What about this internal discussion about how strong to be in the language against one nation? Andrew Hastie is saying this is all-out war now. Angus Taylor is much more measured in his approach. Which is the right way to go about this?
I'm focused on selling our policies to people in my electorate. More broadly, the same day that Labor was slapping each other on the back and giving high fives and cheering because their taxes passed, I had a small business roundtable in my electorate where people were crying about the adverse effect of these taxes on them and their families. People who've played by the rules, who've done the right thing, who've tried to build a nest egg, have had the rug pulled from under them. That's the focus of all my activities, and that's what Australians want us to focus on.
Is One Nation a threat to you in Barara?
I am focused on the people in Barara, in delivering good services for them and coming up with policy so we can change the government of the country.
Julian Leeser, I better let you get to the Liberal Party room. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Trudy.
Coming up after the break.